Hi, I'm Kylie Saunders, the host of the Trybes That Thrive podcast series. Join me as I sit down with some special guests, of course, all interesting people, to discuss the top 5 priorities that impact HR and leadership, all with a bent on wellness. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please don't miss the show. There'll be lots of juicy bits in there for you. See you soon.
I'm really excited to be here today with Matt Owens from Anexa and talking about the top 5 priorities actually for HR and business leaders for 2023 and beyond. And actually 47% of respondents in this area have employee experience as one of their top 5 priorities, Matt. And it's just it's a very interesting topic to be sharing with you today. I'm also really grateful for the work that WorkTribe has been able to contribute to Anexa, and I know Anexa is a leading NetSuite partner and provider of complex solutions to some of the most fantastic brands in Australia, and the work that you do is just so critical in terms of delivery. So let's start at the start. It'd be great to sort of get a bit of background about you and what's been your career history and how you've landed as one of the directors at Anexa doing this amazing work that you do.
Wow, that's a big intro, Kylie, but no, awesome to be here. Massively appreciate the partnership. Where to begin? So I've been at Anexa some 15 odd years now. For me, straight into our industry in the technology space, starting at the bottom. Support. I studied stories. Accounting and tech, and that's what the paper said. Didn't really know what that meant in terms of a job. I was fortunate enough that a buddy of mine, his dad, apparently ran a business that was what I studied. That's what my mate said. Right. Got into a grad program with one of the big fours. Did a couple of days. It wasn't feeling like it was for me. But I was going through the motions, and then my mate and now my business partner Jared, he asked me along to have a chat with his old man, and so he got me into doing support, helping customers 101 kind of help desk stuff, and then been really fortunate that he gave me the opportunity to step up and do what I wanted to do. And let me wear a number of different hats across the business. And over the years, obviously been fortunate enough to step up and run the business with Jared, and over sort of the past 5 to 10 years, take over the business and mould it into what it is today.
Amazing. And it's so lovely to have a cup of coffee with you this afternoon. So please remember to have a little sip of yours before it goes cold. I know that being in a business that has significant year-on-year growth is challenging in terms of employee experience and what, those employees, how you firstly recruit and find them through to, retaining them and giving them a really interesting workload whilst they're in our employ. And that is always a challenge in a business that is growing significantly like yours has been. But I guess, and also being in the IT sector, could you have picked something a little easier? This has been an explosive sector.
I do ask myself that
for so many years.
From time to time, I do question.
It's really complicated, and it has been one of the tightest talent markets for a very long period of time here in Australia. And I think COVID definitely impacted that even further from a demand perspective. So I guess for me, I'd really love to understand, was there an aha moment for you that led you to a place to say, okay, employee experience is really important to our business in terms of, recruiting, attracting, retaining, and, delivering a sustainable business moving forward. What was the aha moment that you went, we need to do some stuff around this?
It's a good question, and it's pretty tough in the tech sector when it comes to great talent. But and it's pretty much our number one challenge today. Ongoing is people management, trying to attract great talent, retain great talent. We're doing it every day, and it's not just leadership; it's everyone in the business is working on how we can make that better. But I think for us, early days, it was great. Life was good. We hired our mates. I rang up some buddies I went to uni with. Hey mate, you want a job? And it was pretty easy to get some really high caliber people that you know and that you trust into the business. I'm fortunate that a lot of those people are still in the business today, and retention was great. We had good people that we knew, and everything was easy. I say easy compared with the market over the last sort of 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
As soon as we got to that size, where I think maybe 20 odd people, we ran out of mates. A lot of my mates aren't in tech.
They chose the other industry sectors.
The bucket emptied out pretty quickly, and then we had to figure out how to hire people. A lot of referrals and who we know was great while we were small, but when we got to sort of 30, 40, 50 people, that was really hard. We were competing with the likes of your Googles and your AWSs and your big sort of tech unicorns that exist in Australia. And, as a small consulting firm, even if we could offer the same money, we just didn't have, the benefits that were on offer. So we relied on our people, our relationships, being good people that we want to hang out with and have fun with, and relied on our culture.
Yes.
And I think that's really shaped where we're at today.
Yeah. And there was this really big piece of work that you undertook just in terms of, carving out your employee value proposition. And, because we kind of often look at employee experience across the whole employee life cycle, right? So we're going, okay, before an individual comes into the business, what does that pre-recruitment piece look like? What does the recruiting piece look like? What does, working in the day and the life of experience feel like? How does that translate in terms of growth and opportunity? And then, of course, when people leave our businesses, what does that look like? But there was this, this notion that you did want to compete because talent was so scarce and you were growing very quickly. So what kind of drove that for you?
I think, as soon as we had to start hiring our own people out to market, so people that we didn't know, people that weren't referrals and that knew someone in the business, we had some misses, and it cost the business, cost us time, put so much effort into getting people to the right level and then figuring out if they're not the right fit. Or if they're not at the right level, or whatever it is that you can't work with someone to get to a level. And we had a couple of misses, so then we had to take it really seriously. And so that's where looking at ourselves from the lens of the employment market wasn't something, we had ever done. We're pretty good at marketing our products and services, but we definitely had zero concept of marketing us as an employer and what it meant to help us retain talent as well as attract new talent. That process with WorkTribe, absolutely awesome to really put a bit of critical thinking and have a really good look at ourselves, interview our team, figure out what makes us tick, figure out what our staff love in terms of the great things about working for us, and figure out, the highs and the lows and how we can further build on all that, right? Not just as a leadership group, but as a business. And then start chipping away to help build our presence in the market as an employer.
Yes.
Foreign concept to us, just trying to weave that into everyday business.
Yes.
So that when we attract some talent and they chuck us into Google and they find us, they look at us and they go, they look like some people that I could work with. They look like they have fun. What is it that is actually going to resonate with them? So we had to get serious about it. And I think that was the kick in the backside that we needed to go and actually focus some time and energy on it.
And as part of that methodology or process, if you like, there was a very big focus on the existing employees in the business as well and how they feel about the business, the opportunities that they secure for themselves. And, there was some analysis done around, what the voice was from those individual employees. What did you learn out of that process?
Look, we learn a huge amount, to be honest. I think there were things that were so obvious in the responses that we couldn't see because we're just living and breathing the detail all day long. And there were some great things that we actually needed to showcase to the market. and a showcase to other team members that were coming in, and formalise it, kind of make it known so it's part of the DNA of the business. There are also a number of things that have really formed the basis of our initiative or roadmap of initiatives to make the business better. We had some great ideas. We were a super smart crew, and they were really open to share a bunch of great ideas. So I don't think, I think the main thing was listening, and that's where your team were awesome, because they were out of our details. They were asking the right questions. They enabled our team to open up and just say it like it is in terms of their feedback, which was great. I think something that came out that I probably took for granted was just how diverse and inclusive a group of individuals that we've got at Anexa.
It was phenomenal.
It was just really, I guess it was a really nice thing.
Yes.
And I think that kind of is something that, potential candidates in the market, if they're kind of aware of an environment where
you're already doing it, and you didn't even realise you were doing some of this,
Well, we can do better, right? We can do it better.
We can always do
absolutely.
better. But the foundations are actually part of the culture and DNA of the business. And so many businesses wrestle with that because they're trying to create that and come from a place where it's just so foreign to them. Whereas, there was a lot of accountability for the individuals within your business, and it was very much highlighted as we went through that process.
Yep.
In terms of, leading, I guess, their own career opportunities, I was really intrigued, but also heartened by the approach that Anexa takes for people to kind of design their own future at Anexa, and lead with some accountability around the things that they want to achieve. How has that sort of turned out to be that way? Like, what have you been doing that's allowed people to take ownership of their own career destiny?
I think it's evolved. I think people step up. They naturally are empowering team members to deliver, which means you lean on your teammates to help you. You're not afraid to make mistakes and learn and fix things. And try and build a network where they've got support. And I think that's been the hardest thing as we've grown, to just make sure that there is support for everyone day to day. So there are a number of gaps in scaling the business to make sure that people have got support. But I think ultimately the leaders set an example, and then new people that come in, there's inherently that level of responsibility and accountability. And if they haven't I guess they're not naturally wired that way to really care about the work, to take ownership, to not be afraid to ask people, 101 questions, then it's fair to say culturally it's probably not the right fit anyway for us. So I think that sort of naturally has played out, and we've just been very fortunate that we've had great people with a great sort of base, to build on. Yeah.
And the culture is, it's unique. You work on client sites. We've moved very much into flexible hybrid working. The team only come together at certain times. But, in terms of employee experience, what can you sort of define as, some of those things that you do incredibly well to bring that team together? I mean, I know that you've joined us today, Matt, in between some of these initiatives that you run in the business frequently. So talk me through some of those initiatives that you do really well.
We've probably always been a flexible working arrangement business. The PDs prior to COVID didn't say that. They said your place of employment was at our office in Melbourne or in Sydney, but we, but people would naturally be working on site, work at home. They'd come into the office to work, to collaborate with their team members or run workshops with our customers. And that's kind of the way the business is always run. So if we can't hire these caliber of employees to, we're kind of conducting critical business process, mapping and implementation. So you've got to have people at a certain level, and they've got to be able to work autonomously. So we don't really mind where you're working from. Post-COVID, definitely been harder to get people back to the office.
Absolutely.
But to be honest, naturally they kind of like to, even if it's just a day a week or a day every couple of weeks with their immediate team. And then as a business, we're really just constantly reinforcing to our people managers that they need to get their teams together and talk to their teams. And then, we try and do sort of quarterly events as an all hands.
Yes.
And
what are some of those things that you do? Because there's some pretty fun things that go on at
we have a social club. They get together and talk about some great things. And I think culturally that's really important. If it were me going to the pub with the crew and having a drink, that's cool. Is that inclusive? Probably not.
Yes.
We need to do things that we can actually all get together and everyone can have fun.
Yes.
And we have more fun than probably what we thought.
That's right.
So activities today we're doing. We're playing darts. We're doing virtual darts. Well, it's real darts, but with virtual things around it. But look, everything from playing golf, doing some wellness activities, bubble soccer.
Bubble soccer.
Yeah, that's
heard that
dangerous. You got to be careful.
Okay.
With that one. Go-karts, stuff like that.
All the stuff we need.
Anything at all, we try and just do something every quarter and, have a bit of a laugh. IT people doing physical things is highly entertaining.
Okay, let's not go there.
Yes.
And I guess in terms of, leading with a employee brand promise, where did you land, Matt? Because this was, when you're thinking about attracting talent and getting a promise or a statement that is, it actually is really, really realistic of what the business can offer, that can deliver on, some of the real life experiences that people have and can provide their own testimonials to. How did we summarise that for you? Like where did Anexa land with that?
Yeah, it was a good exercise. We took sort of three main areas of our business from our consulting teams. So they're kind of like accountants and supply chain people, our technology teams that are mainly software developers, sales and marketing teams. And we kind of tried to profile, what does culture mean and what are the key things. And I think that one around shaping your career destiny, where do you want to get to? What do you want to do? And how can we help you get there?
Yes.
Don't sort of put yourself into a box at Anexa and that's one role, but sort of where do you want to get to? And then can we tap into, the great things our team members want to do and help leverage those skills within a business? We developed some taglines. We developed one per role, but the one that we kind of had across the top is where collaboration and innovation drive powerful growth. So ultimately, to wrap up the exercise, that was the tagline, that we've come up with. But I guess there was a lot of detail within that to kind of figure out key focus areas, what makes us tick. And I think, to me, if I had to summarize it, it's being confident, but being relaxed, being ambitious, and caring.
Yeah.
And I think they're the kind of things that came through overwhelmingly.
And what would the team say about that tagline and all of the detail that sits beneath that? Because they were obviously part of the journey with us. They were involved in, surveys and workshops and, great communication plans in terms of exactly where we were up to with that project. Mm. And, you talk about that in the business now and it's visible to everybody. So what would they say? Do they see it as being relatable to them and landing something for them, or what would they say?
I hope so.
Yeah, good.
It's a work in progress. Like I think it's just something that we need to weave into business every day.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we're talking about inclusivity today at we had an all hands in the morning, and it's got to be something that we're doing every day to promote being inclusive, letting everyone speak up, everyone's voice really valuable in what we're trying to achieve.
Yes.
And naturally it promotes inclusivity. And I think that's probably the overwhelming thing that come out of the EVP surveys, talking to the staff, that everyone needed to be approachable, not be afraid to ask questions, fairly flat in terms of our structure.
Yes.
New people would see people walking straight into a director's office, and they go, don't you need to knock, or
yes,
the door's open,
yes,
people walk in.
Yeah.
Right, that's how we operate. We're very open. It's very relaxed. I'd say that's probably the main thing. It's weaving that inclusivity into our daily kind of lives. I think people are still they need to refer to the survey results to kind of remember the details.
Of course.
But I think that just promoting the taglines, promoting inclusivity, promoting helping and caring is definitely, I guess the first step.
Absolutely.
Together. Yep.
Absolutely. And in terms of celebration and reward and recognition, this is such a, this can be like how long is a piece of string, and how frequently do we do it, and what does that look like? But, my observations of, your internal chat on Slack as an example, and just the engagement of individuals regardless of, the location that they work in. Yep. And, being able to have shout outs when people are delivering something, really well. How does that kind of play out in terms of the things that you do and you feel you do really well?
It just kind of snowballed. We've obviously we use tools like Slack and stuff like that for a very long time, and it's hard to keep up with all the different things that's going on across the business, but everyone feels the need, to celebrate the wins, which is awesome.
Yeah,
they want to talk about the great solution that they came up with to solve a problem for a customer.
Yes.
They want to share that with the other consulting and dev teams across our business, and we all learn that way.
Yes.
I think that really helped us stay connected, particularly during COVID. So shout outs, absolutely. Video updates, communication. We can just throw stuff on Slack.
Yeah.
People can see it, tag people, and everyone. It's all about the emojis.
Is it?
The emoji responses to the wins.
Have you got your own? An extra emoji?
We've got
we need to create one
We've
of those
literally
for
got
you.
hundreds and hundreds of custom emojis within Slack. Yeah, everyone makes an emoji for everything. So we have a bit of fun with that. But yeah, I think it's a hard one. I feel like it's reward and recognition, something we always need to evolve.
Yes.
Shout outs are great. It's bite-sized celebrations, celebrate the little wins.
Yes.
We do things like for our company values, we do awards for our values every quarter, and people put nominations in for those.
Amazing.
Which is nice. I think it's just making time in your day to think about who helped you, and then don't be afraid to publish it on the world of Slack.
Anywhere. Yeah, absolutely. And clearly you lead by example, Matt. It's just been an absolute pleasure for WorkTribe to be involved in the journey with Anexa, and we value the opportunity. So thank you. But I guess in closing is, when we think of employee experience, is there, one or two things that you would say to any business they should have on their agenda? What are those one or two critical things?
Well, that's a tough one. I think that you really need to take the experience seriously. Everyone talks. You want to be able to have people that leave your business still recommend your business to their peers. Yeah. You don't want to have people leaving on bad terms or whatever. So it's just so important.
There's this boomerang environment where people can have the opportunity to come back. At some point.
We had a guy start last week. He literally worked with us for a few years and moved away, and then kind of doing a similar thing in the industry, and he wanted to come back for a while.
Yes.
And he missed at that point. He needed a step.
Yes.
And we couldn't offer that to him at that point.
Time. Yeah.
But he still had immense respect for the business across the board, and scratched the itch, so to speak. Went the round and came back, and I think I love that.
Yeah.
I really love the ability to kind of continue with the referrals and partnerships. So. Yeah, the secret sauce, I don't know, take HR seriously, right? critical thinking into your business from the lens of an employee. You know, if I kind of had, you know, my time sort of 5-6 years ago in the market, no doubt I would have been critically analysing us from a people and an employer perspective much, much earlier.
Yes.
It would have made our growth and our success in hiring people much, much easier.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your journey with me today, Matt. I've really enjoyed it, and I knew you'd do that and let your coffee go cold.
I like it lukewarm. It was a little hot, so
humble.
It'll be perfect now.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks,
Thank
Kylie. Appreciate it.
It's been great.
Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like and subscribe and follow our socials to stay up to date. See you next time.